The great psychologist Carl Jung once wrote, "As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being." We often look at the lives of great figures, artists, thinkers, leaders, and we feel a sense of inadequacy. Their lives seem so filled with purpose. How could ours ever compare? We chase achievements, status, and success, hoping to find that same sense of meaning, often ending up more lost than when we started. But Jung proposed a radical idea. He suggested that the purpose of your life is not something you find out there. It is not a job, a goal, or an accomplishment. It is a light that you must kindle within. And the most surprising place to find the spark for that light is in the one place we are all taught to avoid: our own darkness. This is a journey into Jung's most profound teaching. It is not about becoming a better person, but a whole person. And in that wholeness, you will find your purpose. Jung began with a truth that echoes the wisdom of the ancient Greek philosophers who carved "know thyself" into their temples. He said, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." To know yourself, you must understand that you are made of both a conscious and an unconscious mind. Your conscious self is your persona, the polite, capable mask you wear for the world. But your unconscious holds your shadow. The shadow is the hidden part of you that contains everything you've disowned in order to be liked and accepted. Your anger, your envy, your laziness, your vulnerability. Because these traits are hidden, you're often unaware of them. But they don't disappear. They influence your life from the darkness. The most common way the shadow appears is through projection. The things that irritate you most in other people are often the very traits you have refused to acknowledge in yourself. Do you have a coworker who is incredibly lazy and it drives you insane? Perhaps you are overworking yourself to the point of burnout and have repressed your own deep need for rest. You see your own disowned laziness in them and you judge it harshly. To begin this journey, you must start a practice of shadow work. This is not as intimidating as it sounds. It is the simple, quiet act of self-reflection. Through journaling or meditation, ask yourself, why did I react so strongly in that situation? What is the feeling beneath my anger? When I judge that person, what part of me am I refusing to see? This is the first, most crucial step, to simply acknowledge that the darkness exists within you, not as an enemy, but as a hidden part of your own wholeness. After discovering the less desirable traits in your shadow, you might feel worse about yourself. But Jung's goal was never to make you a good person. His goal was to make you a whole person. Repressing your shadow doesn't make it go away, it gives it more power. The person who denies their anger is the one who has sudden, terrifying outbursts. The person who ignores their own envy becomes bitter and cynical. The darkness, when ignored, festers. The journey of individuation, as Jung called it, is an alchemical process. The ancient alchemists sought to turn worthless lead into precious gold. In this psychological alchemy, your shadow is the lead. It is not waste material to be discarded. It is the raw, essential ingredient that, when integrated, can be transformed into gold. Your repressed anger is not just a destructive force, it is the raw energy of passion and the fuel for setting powerful boundaries. Your repressed envy is not just a poison, it is a compass needle, pointing directly at something your soul deeply desires. Your repressed laziness is not just a flaw, it is the hidden wisdom of your body, telling you when you need to rest and recharge to avoid burnout. The task is not to destroy these traits, but to understand them and give them a conscious, healthy expression. When you integrate your shadow, you become more balanced, more authentic, and paradoxically, a better and more effective human being. Self-knowledge is the map, but it is not the journey. Jung was adamant that meaning is not found in thought, but in action. He said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Most of us live reactively. We wait for inspiration to strike, for the perfect opportunity to appear, for others to recognize our worth. We are characters in a story, reacting to the plot. But to find your purpose, you must become the author of your own story. The French existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre echoed this, stating that our choices and actions define our essence. You are not a writer because you have ideas. You are a writer because you write. Think of someone who wants to be physically fit. The reactive person buys new workout clothes, follows fitness influencers, and talks about starting on Monday. They are waiting for the feeling of motivation. The proactive person goes for a walk right now. It's a small, imperfect action, but it is an action. They are not waiting for motivation. They are building it through discipline. Meaning is not something you wait for. It is something you build day by day through your choices and your actions. What stops us from taking action? The answer is almost always fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. We stay in our reactive comfort zones because taking action is a risk. Jung saw fear not as an obstacle to be avoided, but as a signpost. He famously wrote, "Where your fear is, there is your task." Your fear is a compass that points directly to the area of your life that requires the most growth. The action you are most afraid to take is often the very action that will bring the most meaning to your life. The solution is not to get rid of the fear, but to learn to act alongside it. The Stoic philosopher Seneca taught that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. We build up catastrophic scenarios in our minds. The practice is to look at your fear logically. Ask yourself, what is the worst that can realistically happen? And if it does, can I handle it? The answer is almost always yes. By preparing for the worst-case scenario, you rob it of its power. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is the judgment that something else is more important. So, you've done the work. You know yourself, you're integrating your shadow, you're taking action, and you're facing your fears. Does this mean you will have a perfect, happy life? No, and according to Jung, you wouldn't want one. He wrote, "Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. There can be no light without shadow, no victory without the possibility of defeat." But what about the moments that feel like pure, meaningless struggle? The projects that fail, the goals that are never reached. The existentialist philosopher Albert Camus wrestled with this very question in his famous essay, The Myth of Sisyphus. Sisyphus is a figure from Greek mythology condemned by the gods to an absurd and eternal punishment. He must push a massive boulder up a hill, only to watch it roll back down the moment he reaches the top. His struggle seems to be the very definition of a pointless, meaningless existence. But Camus comes to a startling conclusion. He ends his essay with the line, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy." Why? Because in the moment Sisyphus walks back down the hill to retrieve his boulder, he is fully conscious of his fate. He is not a victim. He embraces the struggle. His meaning is found not in the impossible goal of getting the rock to stay at the top, but in the conscious, defiant, and powerful act of pushing. As Camus writes, "The struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill a man's heart." Imagine a startup founder whose first company fails spectacularly. and has not just failed. Like Sisyphus, the meaning wasn't only in reaching the summit of a successful IPO. It was found in the struggle itself, in the late nights, the failed prototypes, the lessons learned, and the courage it took to push the boulder. Jung's ultimate point is that your life's purpose is not found in the final achievement. The meaning is found in the process, in the courage it took to act, in the wisdom gained from the struggle, and in the profound journey of... The search for purpose is not a treasure hunt where you find a single chest of gold and the journey is over. It is a continuous, lifelong process. It is the daily practice of looking inward, of integrating all that you are, of acting with courage, of facing your fears, and of finding the meaning in your struggles. You are not here to live a perfect life. You are here to live a whole one. Appreciate the good. Be grateful for the joy. And know that your life has purpose every single moment, that you are striving to be the truest, most complete version of yourself. That journey, in and of itself, is the masterpiece. That is the light you are here to kindle.